Hello my lovelies, and thank you so much for joining me. So very quickly I'm going to carry on with the challenge because you guys requested that, and also you pointed out that in my last video I didn't carry on with the challenge. So for today the word is up. We are using the letter up. Up. Well done everyone, you just said water. So let's carry on with the video. I'm going to carry on the conversation about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and the trial. So this is what we are covering in today's video, and quickly from the get-go I'm going to give a disclaimer. All the information I'm giving you in the video is already found in the public domain, and I also don't mean any disrespect to anyone I talk about in the video. This is for educational purposes only. Thank you so much. So let's get on with it. I am going to start actually with a bombshell in today's video. I don't know if you've seen or you remember the opening statements of Amber's lawyer, where she said that throughout their entire relationship Amber used a cosmetics correction palette where she mixed the colors to cover her bruises. The lawyer specifically showed the Milani Cosmetics correction kit, saying that this is what Amber carried in her bag wherever she went throughout their relationship. So Amber using this particular palette to conceal her bruises that Johnny Depp gave her, right? And the lawyer said that Amber will go on the stand and she will demonstrate and she will testify how she mixed the colors to cover the bruises, because Amber never ever left the house without having foundation on and covering up the bruises with the correction kit. That was, in my honest opinion, quite a bold statement for the lawyer to make. Milani Cosmetics is a very popular brand with $24 million in revenue. It's being sold everywhere, Walmart, Target, in the US, in the UK, all over the place, right? It's affordable, so obviously this will be a popular brand. Now, on Friday, 22nd of April, just a few days ago, Milani Cosmetics officially took to TikTok to clear up the claims in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. It's so funny, guys, honestly, it's really funny. And I'll tell you why it's funny in just a minute. So, Milani Cosmetics said in the video on TikTok that the alleged happened between 2014 and 2016, as we all know, right? Okay? Johnny and Amber, they got divorced in 2016. Milani's all-in-one correcting kit was released in December 2017. The high street brand was cited by Amber Heard's lawyer Elaine Bredoff during the ongoing defamation court case between the actress and her ex-husband Johnny Depp. Elaine used Milani's all-in-one correcting kit as evidence, holding it in her hand during the opening statement, claiming that Amber used the concealer on alleged injuries before her 2016 divorce. Now remember that the palette was only released in 2017 December, so can you just believe it? Amber used a correction kit which has not even been released at that time. How is that even possible? She was caught in another lie, but this time however ridiculed all over the world, streaming live from the courtroom, streaming live. You would think that, you know, when they use evidence in their opening statements, that these lawyers, they would use due diligence, right? I mean, that would be the common sense, right? You fact check before you present something, I would assume. I can't believe, quite honestly, how unprofessional this sounds from the lawyers. Now, it was either that she lied to her lawyers and they just believed her without double checking, which is a common thing to expect, really, to double check, that they would check, or they simply just went with it, not thinking that it will bite them in the bums later on. Although I don't know how you can think that when you know that that the trial is being live streamed all over the world. I don't know. Milani Cosmetics, really, they thanked their fans for actually spotting that in the trial, and that's how the company conducted their own investigation and then made a video to show that it just wasn't true. I really think that Milani Cosmetics should sue Amber. She used their product's name in this trial, so you know, without having much legal knowledge myself, I think that they possibly can have grounds to sue her. I'm not entirely sure of that. But then, where do we stand from the legal point of view of this? The lawyer said Amber specifically used this exact kit and she will demonstrate in court and even testify to it. But under oath, right? But how can Amber demonstrate that she used this exact kit mixing the colors when this kit didn't even exist at the time? How can she testify that she used it at the time when the kit didn't exist back then? Let's look at this clip on YouTube from Emily D. Baker, who is an attorney for 15 years, who will better explain how we can go in terms of the legal process.
Emily D. Baker. These are the quick bits. Warning, curse words ahead. Let's get into it. In opening statements, Amber Heard's female attorney made a very large deal over a makeup compact that she said that Amber Heard used to cover bruises. And then the makeup company released a TikTok stating that that compact was not available until after the divorce. We are going to look at the opening statements. We are going to look at that TikTok very quickly. And then I am going to talk about the legal problems that Johnny Depp's team can exploit to their advantage and that Amber Heard's legal team have stepped in spectacularly all over social media. Let's take a look at this opening statement real quick.
They chose not to go. They keep saying ex parte, but they chose not to appear, and they knew she was going to appear.
Talking about the divorce.
TMZ, but somebody called TMZ to take all those photos that
Amber
day.
being photographed
Now, you
with
also
the bruises
heard
on her
them say
face.
that all kinds of people saw Amber that week, and she didn't have any bruises on her face.
Let's talk about the bruises
Well,
and the
let me
makeup.
show you this.
Here we go.
This is what Amber carried in her purse
Oh, do
for
show
the
me.
entire relationship with
Right
Johnny
here.
Depp. She's an actor. Do you honestly think she would have left her apartment ever without makeup?
She
Do you
never left
think
her
that
apartment
she
without
ever
makeup.
would have wanted other people to see her bruises and her cuts?
Still holding it.
This was what she
was on the
used.
cover of
She
People.
became very adept at it. And you're going to hear the testimony
This
from
is what she
Amber
used.
about how she had to mix the different colors for the different days.
You're going to hear the testimony from Amber about how she mixed the colors for the different days. She is going to have to testify about this makeup palette.
Of the bruises as they developed in the different coloring, and how she would use these to touch those up to be able to cover.
That, by the way, looks completely untouched and brand new. So it's not this particular one, but she keeps saying this. Listen to her words.
For those. She also used concealer, foundation. You'll hear from her makeup person that Amber didn't even leave her bedroom without having foundation on. And one of the people that was at the building testified.
Apologies
he said
for the
she
feed.
had makeup on and it would have covered that bruise. So that's the testimony on that.
So pay attention to when she says that this is what Amber carried the entirety of her relationship.
Well, let me show you this. This is what Amber carried in her purse for the entire relationship with Johnny Depp.
This is what she carried for the entire relationship. Let's see what the company who makes that exact conceal and cover palette, this one,
She's an actor.
has to say.
You honor-
On TikTok, Milani Cosmetics said, "You asked us, let the record show that our correcting kit launched in 2017. I'm not going to play the Backyardigans music. If you want to see that, you can go to TikTok and take a look. But this is their TikTok. What? Carried in her purse for the entire relationship? Milani color correcting and concealer palette. Take note, alleged abuse was around 2014 to 2016. Got divorced 2016. Makeup palette release date, December 2017. They show them going through the offices at Milani Cosmetics. They show the exact palette and confirmed release 2017. Why does this matter? This matters because what they promised the testimony will show in opening statement is not going to be what the testimony can show, because this attorney stood up with her whole chest and said, this is what she used. She'll tell you how she mixed the colors. How did she mix the colors on something that didn't exist? How is she going to testify exactly how she did it if it didn't exist? And she didn't say it's one like this. And now there might be an opportunity for Amber Heard's entire team to just ignore this and say it didn't happen. But in opening statement, she promised you will hear Amber Heard's testimony of how she mixed it to cover the different days of the bruises. I don't think Amber Heard can testify without addressing how she covered it up so that people did not see her bruises, because part of her argument is that she covered it up so well that people didn't know. But Depp's argument is that people didn't know because the injury didn't exist and the photographs were staged. This is going to be a critical point of contention. Is there still time for Johnny Depp's legal team to get the business records from Milani Cosmetics? Yes, because this is a 6-week trial. We just finished week 2, and they don't have to turn over impeachment evidence. So they can pull this evidence and hold it till they cross-examine Amber Heard. The cross-examination of Amber Heard is going to be fiery. Her legal team has to be trying to figure out a way to address this. They have to be trying to come up with a strategy. But this is out there now, and there's no going back. There's no way that Johnny Depp's legal team won't be aware of this, and there's no way that Amber Heard's legal team won't have to figure out how to backtrack from the bold statement made in opening that this is the exact palette she used. If you're going to use demonstratives, you better make sure that they are right, especially when you are live streaming in 4K. Because on this one, Amber Heard's legal team got caught in 4K making promises that they might not be able to deliver on. I want to know what you think down below. Thank you for joining me for this quick bit.
I think that Elaine, Amber's lawyer, will lose her reputation after all this mess. A source close to Amber said that Elaine used the Milani Cosmetics kit just as an example, which, yeah, I kind of expected them saying that. They could argue that they just use it as an example, but then if you use it as an example, wouldn't you as a lawyer mention that you are using the kit as an example? And I'm sure that they will try to find a way around it, but for me, as the general public, this just destroyed all the credibility for Amber from my point of view. I don't know how you feel, but this is how I feel. There is also a rumor being spread on TikTok, and obviously I have no idea if it's true or not. There is no way that I can check this myself, but apparently people are saying on TikTok that Elaine attended a Johnny Depp premiere as a fan ages ago. I think it was when it was the premiere for Pirates of the Caribbean. And I'm going to play that TikTok for you. So now that we've seen the video, let's just for a second say that yes, it's true. And it was her. So then if it was her, wouldn't this be a conflict of interest? I really think that it would. And if you followed anything about this case, you will know that there have been some funny moments so far in the trial. One of the funniest, if you will, for me was when Amber's lawyer objected to the same question that he asked. Even the judge said it was his question. Oh my god, I mean, I feel like this is just embarrassing. They are just embarrassing themselves here, and they are grasping at straws.
And you had interaction with Debbie Lloyd when you were in the house, correct?
Yes, briefly.
Okay. And isn't it true that in the entire time you were there, you were not informed as to what caused damage to Mr. Depp's finger on March 8th?
Objection, hearsay.
I'm asking what he wasn't told.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kipper told me he'd sustained an injury on one of his fingers.
Objection, hearsay.
Wait, you asked the question. Next question.
Okay, you said he sustained an injury to his finger,
Yes,
but you don't know what caused the injury to his finger.
one of his fingers.
But you don't know you don't know how his finger was injured,
I
correct?
don't think anybody mentioned it to me at that time.
Right, no one mentioned it to you at that time, correct?
Same objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sorry, I'll allow it. Next question.
You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kipper told me he'd sustained an injury on one of his fingers.
Objection, hearsay.
Wait, you asked the question.
Okay.
It's just ridiculous. I think it's getting more and more ridiculous. Johnny Depp ended his testimony in his $50 million defamation trial against Amber Heard on Monday, 25th of April, which was just yesterday as I'm recording the video, with a declaration that he is the victim of DA, domestic abuse, not Amber. Johnny's lawyers reclaimed the narrative after several days of cross-examination in which Amber's attorney blasted the jury with texts and audio of Johnny using violent language and in angry outbursts. Johnny declared that Amber stood in the way of almost every positive move in his life during their time together up until their 2016 divorce. While he admitted last week that Amber was instrumental in his 2015 detox from opioids, Johnny also painted his ex-wife as a potential trigger to a relapse. He said that if she didn't leave their LA residence and check into a bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel for several days, he would have gone straight back to the pills. Amber did in fact go to the hotel as was requested of her. Now, I personally have never been addicted to pills or drugs, and I can't say I know anybody who has, so I can't really comment on that. However, I am addicted to nicotine, and I know really well that when I stopped smoking for a while, any negative interaction or even anything else negative would trigger that relapse. I was fortunate enough the last time when I stopped smoking that I stopped with the help of the stop smoking tablets called Champix. And it goes without saying that my whole family was supportive because they knew just how hard it was to stop an addiction, so they understood. They knew when to stop an argument or anything really which could trigger the relapse. My husband didn't smoke in front of me, there were no cigarettes around for me to see, no lighters, nothing which would trigger me in any possible way to go back to smoking. And I'm going to say something which is very hard for me to talk about, and that's why I'm not really touching this subject much, because it's something which is still going on. A few months after I had stopped smoking, and after a month of me stopping the Champix tablets in December 2021, just 2 weeks before Christmas, a traumatic event happened where my entire family was broken apart and I relapsed. It was really a series of events which led to this point. I had 2 surgeries in the space of 1 week in November 2021. The second surgery literally saved my life, and then in December my life changed 360 degrees, where I suddenly found myself alone in an empty house, barely able to walk, cook or look after myself by myself, with a Christmas spent alone like I've never been before. That's when nicotine and smoking was my only escape and relief. So I relapsed. I went straight back to the one thing available to me that could comfort me and keep me going. And now, sadly, I am a smoker again. Can I stop again? Not in my current situation. I don't think I can. The truth is that you guys, you keep me going. I drown myself constantly in research and stories because it really keeps my mind off of everything. And I keep going by staying positive and by thinking that one day everything will go back to normal. That's the reason why I have been getting back into doing my makeup more often. That's the reason why I started buying myself makeup products. Because the last time I got a makeup product was a couple of years ago, because I didn't really use them. But this is something that makes me feel better in the current situation that I'm in. This is the reason why I started baking again, because it keeps my mind off of things and it makes me feel better. And that's how, by putting makeup on, by baking, by doing YouTube videos, this is how I cope with things, and this is how I stop myself from thinking at what's happening. So yeah, honestly, I only told you this story because I think that when you have an addiction and you battle to get treatment and be better, it's imperative that you are surrounded by positivity, because anything will trigger you. And I think that's why Johnny Depp said if Amber wouldn't have gone to the bungalow, he would have gone straight back to using the pills. Their arguments were a trigger. Plus, Amber, she never considered stopping the use of drugs and alcohol herself in support of Johnny. She kept on using them, saying that she doesn't have an addiction. But, at least from my point of view, out of respect, she should have hidden when she used them. Quote, "That's not me, that's not who I have ever been," Johnny Depp said in one of his moments, summing up the claims that he was physically abusive to Amber. From a strategic point of view, that is the image and message that Team Depp wants to leave the jury with after the roller coaster of his testimony over the last week. Depp addressed that on Monday as he was asked about claims that he vomited in bed as he slept. Depp admitted he did throw up in response to the stress of his relationship with Amber. Now, can you just for a second imagine that everything, every single aspect is made so public? I can't really wrap my head around the plain fact that Amber recorded almost everything. How can you even do that to your significant other? I would never, not even in the back of my mind would I think that I would need to record stuff, unless she planned this well before and prepared so-called evidence in advance. Not only was it illegal, but it was also degrading, a huge invasion of privacy, everything really. Photos of Johnny being taken whilst he passed out, as they say, with the ice cream melting in his lap. Either way you look at these things happen to anyone. You are so exhausted, you just fall asleep in all sorts of weird positions. It doesn't mean anything really, and even if you would pass out from being too drunk, so what? It doesn't make you someone who is violent to another person physically. At another point, describing himself as a poor old junkie, Johnny was heard on a recording telling Amber that he's never getting clean and sober. I have watched the live stream of this trial, and you know what? As an example, out of a more than 1 hour of recording, Amber's lawyers played only small snippets of conversation, maybe a few seconds each, at the most 1 minute more or less, to, show Johnny's violent and angry conversations and behavior. So many of these things were taken out of context, and so many of these things were taken literally. You have this 1 hour long conversation, but we only hear a few seconds, and the worst ones, but you don't hear the full context of the full conversation. How did he get to the point of saying what he said? What was Amber's demeanor, behavior? What was she saying? Did he mean to say something literally or just an exaggeration? Was it a figure of speech? There's no way that anyone can draw a conclusion such as the jury if they don't have the full picture, in my opinion. When Johnny told Amber that he's never getting clean and sober, I think that he meant that he will never be able to do it if these things between them keep going on, the constant arguing, fighting, belittling, demeaning, bullying, all of these things. And of course, when you are trying to get clean and sober, like I mentioned previously, you don't need all these triggers. You don't need them because you won't be able to do it. It takes a lot of willpower. Another audio of Amber was played talking to Johnny about an occasion when he beat the out of her. Again, we don't have the full conversation, we don't have the meaning of the conversation, and as such it's impossible to conclude that Amber said he beat her literally, as in physically beating her. Words taken out of context are harmful. Not only that, but they can paint quite a different picture than the actual truth or meaning of them in the first place. Then, if you have watched the trial, you can tell by now that Johnny's language can be quite colorful, if you will, if I can, put it that way. He doesn't get straight to the point. No, Johnny doesn't get straight to the point. He speaks very, how can I say, elevated. He's using metaphors, being very descriptive, almost as if he's being poetic when he speaks. It's very hard to describe the way that he speaks, but he has a very distinct vocabulary and speech. He takes quite some time to think of how he's going to word his next answer. He's not direct in his answers, he's more like trying to set the scene and then describing it from an author's point of view. It's quite honestly very, very hard to explain. And he also uses dark humor in his vocabulary in all kinds of situations. I don't exactly know why, but I suspect that perhaps he's either uncomfortable and maybe humor helps him deal with it, or he's responding to situations with humor because this is his safe space. It makes him deal better with it. Johnny's lawyers played another recording of the couple arguing over Johnny wanting to walk out on Amber, where the actor called her a pain in the ass, a harpy, and a Additionally, he was heard saying that Amber had a borderline personality disorder.
Your Honor, this is a recording, Defendant's Exhibit 582, that we will play the entirety of.
All right, any objection to 582?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 582 in evidence.
Go put your f***ing cigarettes out on someone else. You have consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up, fat ass.
Yeah, you got me there.
You're a flower. Every other man I know, every other relationship I know, there's man is like, oh, yeah, shit. And you're a flower. Every single time you get it.
Because you're a f***ing
and she told him that she loved him. But in that recording, she didn't only tell him that she loved him. No. She said so many things. She was very manipulative and she was very controlling in that entire conversation. She asked him to remove his wedding ring off if he's done with her, right? He then removes the wedding ring off and she goes back to saying things like, is that all that this means to you? Turning it back on him. It's quite typical, again, this kind of behavior and controlling of an abuser.
And today you apologize, said I love you, I'm so sorry, and then today it takes you 2 seconds. It takes you 20 seconds at most to go, F that, I hate you, I don't want to be with you, goodbye, I'm leaving, I'm running away, but I'm not running, I'm walking away. Then if you don't want to be with me in life,
Goodbye.
then you need to actually do it. You need to actually take off your ring and forget that 5 hours ago you said the opposite. Otherwise, you can't keep throwing that around. You can't keep saying to me that this is something you care about. Is that what it's worth to you?
Yeah. For you, from all these rules, all these...
Rules? Because I asked you to stay? Because I asked you to stay.
No, because you're
What was it when you asked me to
You're a
stay?
pain in the ass.
What was it when you asked me to stay?
I can't stand it, no.
What was it when you asked me to stay? In Australia, you said you promised me not to leave. You said you promised me not to leave. What did I do?
I thought you would change.
What did I do?
Not change.
What did I do?
Not change.
Did I stay or did I leave?
You changed.
Did I stay or did I leave?
You stayed and you didn't change and you were
I stayed.
Yes, you were
So I stayed. And I've been you told me tonight that you couldn't imagine your life without me. And now you're throwing your ring on the ground. Does that seem normal?
Let's have you tell me.
That seems sober? You seem
give
normal?
me the definition of normal. You.
Does that seem normal?
You.
Does that seem normal to you?
Borderline personality disorder.
I'm borderline personality disorder now.
Without question.
When I've been consistent all night saying, don't go, don't f this all up. I'm not fighting with you anymore.
Quote, I was done. I stated clearly, I don't want to be with you. He later told the court of that recording, which also had him asking Amber if she wanted to hit him in the ear again. No specifics were given of when Amber allegedly struck Johnny.
Just 2 hours ago. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect.
I love you.
But we don't have to do this every time we disagree.
No. No, we don't. We do.
Please.
We do.
Please. Come here.
And you have.
Please come here.
Insult.
Please come here. I'm not insulting you. I have not been insulting you. I love you. Johnny, what do you need me to do? I love you. Stop.
Smack me on the ear again.
I love you.
I'm gonna smack my ear again. So it fucking resounds in my fucking cranium.
Here it is.
Huh?
Sorry.
There it is. That's what it was.
Love you too. No. No. I don't love you that much. No, I don't. I do not love you that much. To give up myself? No. I do not. I will not give up myself. And you want me to fucking be some kind of cursed goddamn parrot or a fucking weird frenzied dog? No, I won't be it. No?
Frenzied dog, I'm trying to talk to
Or your goddamn fucking lover, Fantasia.
I'll explain in a second.
Baby, stop.
No, I don't want to be with you.
Baby,
These are the fucking
stop.
rules? Fuck that.
Rules. You're making this whole thing. You're doing this whole thing.
Oh,
Stop. No one's fighting me.
I'm making this up. That, above all else, is an insult.
He said, you want to hit me in the ear again? It resounds in my head. And she said, I'm sorry.
It is another argument that is apparently not an argument to her. The screeching of her voice, the demand that things go her way and only her way. I was done, and I think I stated clearly, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. I'm not going to be a parrot on a, or some, little dog that runs through hoops for you. I ain't going to do that. And I wanted out. She said, take your ring off. She still wouldn't let me leave. I did, and she still wouldn't let me leave. So it's just another.
However, we do know already from other recordings that she did hit him and she admitted to hitting him, and when Johnny described one instance, he told her to hit him to get her anger out, and then she did it. She hit him, and then he said it again to hit him again, and then she did it again. She hit him, not once, not twice, but several times, and she would make it seem like it was his fault for her doing that. When asked by his lawyer, Jessica Myers, how he felt in the final days of the couple's marriage, Johnny said he was being nailed in one stop and not being able to do anything but react to her screaming like a banshee and then telling him to calm down. Yes, guys, she was the one who was screaming and shouting in that recording, and yet she told him to calm down. Yeah. On one recording, Amber was crying and she told Johnny that he is so effing mean and a bully. You are killing me, she said at one point, as Johnny had a member of staff take his then wife away. Again, an abuser will do anything and everything to take back control, and when the control is taken away from them, they lash out. They will say anything and everything to get that control back. And when Amber was taken away by staff, she lost the control, so of course she lashed out. Quote, "I was broken, really, at the end, couldn't take it anymore," he told the court of the end of their relationship. In a mid-2016 recorded conversation played for the court, the couple were heard arguing over why their marriage went wrong and of her claims of abuse. Quote, "The abuse thing, we got to deal with that," Johnny said at one point in the recording. "You forced me to by going on the offense," Amber can be heard replying emotionally. "You can see here clearly exactly what I meant earlier. She's trying to blame him for her being abusive. Shifting the blame back to the victim, this is what abusers do. They always do that." Amber Heard will be taking the stand in the trial. Having countersued for $100 million in the summer of 2020, she is expected to give testimony this week or the following week, I believe, one of them two. The 5-week trial, which started on April 11th, later on Monday, on 25th of April, heard from Ben King, who served as a house manager for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard in the UK in 2014 and in Australia in 2015. Ben began detailing arguments he overheard between the couple. Johnny Depp wasn't being threatening in his texts, but simply using abstract humor, Johnny told the Virginia courtroom as he continued. Johnny said that his correspondence was a method of handling a difficult or unpleasant situation. We would, do our best to deal with it with humor as opposed to just a constant complaint or whining or anything of that nature. It's important to know that none of it was ever intended to be real. Johnny Depp went on to say of the 2013 text that detailed drowning and killing Amber and having sex with her dead body, among other notions. He said that he was ashamed of the language he used in text messages about Amber. Now guys, I'm going to be fair here. With this text, I have to say, I don't agree. I don't agree at all. I didn't quite expect that kind of language from Johnny, if I'm honest, I mean, again, I'm saying we have to be fair here. Yes, he deals with humor in upsetting situations, but sometimes it's kind of taken to an extreme. I don't agree with that. In another instance, Johnny said that the harsh texts to an employee were gobbledygook and written in jest to get a rise out of him, to get a reaction out of him. He went on to say that pain was often the primary intention behind his use of exaggerated terms and violent language. After days of methodical questioning by the defense lawyer Ben Rottenborn and an attempt to portray Johnny as a domestic abuser and the drunk and the drug addict, I think that what happened yesterday on Monday in court kind of reset everything in the eyes of the jury. Paul Bettany had also been called as a witness, as have Elon Musk and James Franco. It will be honestly interesting to see if Elon Musk will testify. Elon Musk, of course, stands by Amber. They had an affair whilst Johnny and Amber were still together, and I believe that she told Elon that she told Elon Musk that Johnny was being violent towards her. There's also CCTV footage of them both in the elevator being extremely close. James Franco as well allegedly was involved with Amber. So, you know what? She wasn't a saint. No, she wasn't a saint. However, it seems that Paul Bettany will not be testifying after all. Involved in Depp's attempt to sue Rupert Murdoch's The Sun tabloid for calling the Pirates actor a wife-beater, Paul has said it was embarrassing to see the text made public then, in the other trial. Paul Bettany was on the preliminary witness list that Johnny's side submitted to the court back in late March. Attorney Benjamin Rottenborn introduced a series of negative articles written about Johnny Depp before December 2018, when Amber published a Washington Post op-ed in which she described herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. Rottenborn was attempting to show that the actor's reputation was damaged well before the Washington Post piece ran. Rottenborn went through the articles and he read their headlines where Johnny was described as drunk, late to the set and the box office failure. On the witness stand, Johnny tried to get his own opinion of the articles, calling them hit pieces, in some cases orchestrated by Amber Heard's publicity team. I can't believe that these lawyers, they used headlines and articles as evidence in this trial. It's just beyond belief. When Rottenborn read the headline and subhead from a 2018 Rolling Stone profile, quote, "The trouble with Johnny Depp multi-million-dollar lawsuits, a haze of booze and hash, and a lifestyle he can't afford, inside the trials of Johnny Depp," end of quote, the actor said, "You should read the article." There were a lot of instances in court where Johnny made quite literally everyone in the courtroom laugh, to a point where the judge told the members in the courtroom, including the jury I believe, that they will be kicked out of the court if they keep on going. So yeah, he's still bringing that humor, you see. You can tell that Johnny is dealing with these situations with humor. Is it bullying at times? Honestly, in some instances, I feel like, yeah, there is a bit of bullying going on there. Later, Rottenborn, despite repeated objections from Depp's side, attempted to run through what has been a central argument of Amber Heard's team, that the Washington Post op-ed, which doesn't mention Depp, also doesn't contain any of the details of his alleged domestic abuse. However, I need to point out here that articles written by the media over time portraying Johnny in a negative light does not compare at all with the Washington Post article. At all. It doesn't. It's one thing for a random reporter to write an article about a celebrity, that's their job, right? And a completely different thing that the ex-wife writes an article about the celebrity after a messy divorce. That's personal. When she wrote that, even if she didn't mention him by name, a lot of people assumed that this article is about him because she was the ex-wife, right? Her relationship was with Johnny. They just went through a messy divorce. So it kind of says, yes, it was him, even if the article didn't say that, right? Just to give you an example, the Sun article calling Johnny a wife beater, didn't the Sun also assume that it was about Johnny Depp? So yeah, that kind of says it all, honestly. Amber's attorney said that Depp didn't try to get the restraining order lifted in 2016, nor did he try to clear his name in a divorce trial. Quote, "There were no charges pressed against me," Johnny Depp said. He said that he took action after the Washington Post op-ed because it was the only time he was able to speak and use his own voice. This was Depp's fourth day on the stand in the trial in Fairfax. Much of Rottenborn's cross-examination was devoted to showing the jury a series of texts, audio and video, as they have tried to show Johnny's pattern of drug and alcohol abuse, and in some instances reference to violence in relation to Amber. Rottenborn played 8 different audio clips. In one of them, Amber tells Johnny, "Go put your cigarette out on someone else." He says to her, "Shut up, fat ass." In court, Depp said that Amber had a tendency for grossly exaggerated comments. In another clip, Johnny Depp is heard referring to one of the arguments as a bloodbath. And here is exactly what I meant earlier. They are taking small snippets of an entire conversation to paint Johnny in a bad light, even if it's taken out of context. Put your cigarette out on someone else, for example, can mean so many different things, just like a bloodbath can mean. You can say it metaphorically, you can exaggerate when you say something, it doesn't always mean literally. Amber Heard's attorney also referred to a text from August 2016 that Johnny sent to his agent, in which he wrote, "I can only hope that karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her." Throughout, Rottenborn tried to show that Amber was struggling with Johnny's substance abuse. He presented the text chain she had with Johnny as he was trying to detox, in which she wrote, "The coke you have done today and all the booze you have drank today, has it helped us?" Johnny also claimed that Amber made Paul Bettany's son cry while on vacation. Amber allegedly despised Paul Bettany, Amber Heard envied the instant connection that Johnny Depp had with his friend Paul Bettany and saw him as a threat to their relationship, according to Johnny's testimony. And Paul Bettany wasn't the only one that Amber saw as a threat in their relationship. Allegedly, even his own children, she saw them as threats, and she hated that Johnny Depp gave attention to his own children. According to Johnny, Amber acted aggressively if he showed Paul Bettany too much attention. Quote, Miss Heard despised Mr. Bettany because we had become such close friends, Depp said. For her, he was a threat and would take me away from her. If Paul Bettany was getting the attention from me, that was a showstopper, he continued. It would cause all kinds of unpleasantries. Johnny met Paul on the set of their 2010 movie The Tourist and became fast friends. Text messages between them were entered into evidence in the trial and at an earlier one in the UK against a British tabloid that sided with Amber Heard for a case that Depp lost, which we already know is The Sun. In the text messages, Johnny talked about consuming excessive amounts of drugs and alcohol. The two also exchanged messages about drowning and burning Amber Heard. Quote, let's drown her before we burn her. I will FUCK her burnt corpse afterwards to make sure she's dead, Depp wrote in one text message. Paul Bettany has said the disclosures of the messages were embarrassing and without context. Lawyers for Johnny Depp argued that they were joking references to Monty Python. Johnny testified that the two actors bonded over Monty Python and dry British humor. That was one of the things we connected on, Depp said. Even if it was an unpleasant situation, we would do our best to deal with it with humor as opposed to a constant complaint or whining. Johnny recounted an episode where he and Amber were on holiday with Paul Bettany, his wife, actress Jennifer Connelly, and 4 children on an island. Paul Bettany and Amber Heard were debating an issue, and Amber became quite rude and mean, and she talked over Paul. At some point, Paul Bettany's 18-year-old stepson entered the conversation. Miss Heard demeaned that young man to the point where he burst into tears and walked away, Depp said. Jurors heard an audio clip of a conversation between Johnny and Amber in which she seems to taunt him, and I'm going to play that for you because by now it's already everywhere.
My credit is my credibility. You know what?
And why did you put that out there?
I did not. You forced me. Your team forced me to by going on the offense.
I didn't force you to.
From the very beginning. I promise. Look up the timelines to these things. Everything is. Forget it. Forget it. You don't believe what I say. You don't believe what I say. But I did not choose this. Every step of the way has been an offense.
I did not put this anywhere. I didn't. Let me talk to the team.
I did not call the cops. I gave them no statement.
IO called the cops.
I did not call the cops.
You told IO to call the cops.
I did not call the cops, and I did not give them any statement when they came. I've been trying to protect you.
You told IO to call the cops.
While it was happening?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, because the last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought the first time.
Amber, I lost a finger, man. Come on. I had a jar of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It doesn't matter if it's a fair fight. My ass.
This clip and the audio was quite telling, if I'm honest with you. I would personally take this as her confessing that she was the abuser and her knowing fully that no one, absolutely no one, will believe him because 1, he's Johnny Depp, and 2, he's a man. It boils down to these 2 things. It goes right back to the popular culture and belief that being a man you can't be a victim of DV because you are seen as the strong one, the overpowering one, the aggressive one, right? As a man, if you cry, you are weak. If you complain, you are not a man. If you clean or cook, you are not a man. If you wear pink, you are not a man. But when you're aggressive, you are a man then, right? You see, it's like aggression is automatically being associated with being a man. So basically, the only feeling that you are allowed to feel is being angry as a man, because all the other things don't make you one, which is just ridiculous, honestly. As such, as a man, how can you allow yourself to be a victim of DV, right? You are not a man if you allow it. Why? Because you don't fight back with your physical strength, right? But then, when you do defend yourself and you do fight back, you are an... You see how it goes? We need to strip away all of these ideas, and we need to finally recognize that men can be and they are victims of DV. And the reason why men usually choose not to comfort us as victims is because of us. Because we see them as weak, because we as a society in general don't believe that men can be victims of DV. And I think that Johnny Depp's trial is the perfect example of why men are perceived the way that they are, and how judgmental we can be if a man does indeed decide to defend himself, fight back, accuse and clear his own name. The jurors also heard recordings in which Johnny referred to the violence that could ensue if their arguments were allowed to escalate. Quote, "The next move, if I don't walk away, is going to be a bloodbath, like it was on the island," Johnny says on the recording. In other clips, he loudly shouts vulgarities at his wife, calling her a degrading name and yelling, "You stupid," F-U-C-K at her. The clips were part of a lengthy cross-examination of Johnny Depp that began last week and concluded late Monday morning. Amber Heard's lawyers focused throughout the cross-examination on Depp's drinking, drug use, and charged interactions with Amber during their relationship. During Monday's cross-examination, Johnny actually didn't really say much. Most of the questioning consisted of Amber's lawyer playing audio clips or reading vulgar text messages sent by Depp and asking Depp if he'd read them correctly. I think that by this point the whole public was getting fed up of the constant correct? Am I correct? Am I reading it correctly? Is it correct? When Rottenborn interrupted one response, Johnny said, "I was talking." When Rottenborn said he considered the question to be fully answered, Johnny Depp responded, "As long as you're happy." So there was a bit of a mockery there as well. Amber Heard's attorneys say that Johnny physically and essayed her, and his denials lack merit because he was often drunk and high to the point of blacking out. I can see what angle they are trying to work here. They are trying to show that he was all the time so drunk and all the time so high that he just can't remember his actions. I think they are trying to go with this. Johnny Depp again denied that he cut off his own finger during a fight with Amber, even though he told people as much at the time. He now says that the finger was severed when Amber threw a vodka bottle at him.
I still play the guitar it's still my first love. Aside from my children, it's still my first love. There's no reason in the world why I literally would cut my own finger off to ruin this beautiful opportunity that I was given at 12 to learn how to play the guitar. Again, why would I start lopping off digits in my 50s? If I, as Mr. Rottenborn suggests, am a kind of, walking tantrum. When I was younger, why wouldn't I just start chopping off fingers or or some kind of, why would I ruin the only thing that was really good in my life aside from my children? So when this finger went, the tip of this finger went, the only thing I could think in my mind was, thank God it wasn't the left hand, which is the fret hand. I'm right-handed, so that's the fret, that's where the fretboard is. If you lose a finger from your left hand, you know, I'm not Django Reinhardt, who had only 2 fingers to play with. If I'd have lost a finger from here, I would have had to relearn how to play the guitar all over again. It's just not the case. Even though I say I've chopped my finger off, it's like saying, you know, I bumped into a knife or something. You know, it's not. I'm not admitting to. I think if I was going to admit to someone that I actually chopped my finger off, this text wouldn't be as it is. I think it would have been a long explanation as to why I got to that point. But no, I can't take responsibility for what I now call Little Richard, my chopped finger.
Oh, he gave the finger a name. That's so funny. Johnny is saying that he cut off his own finger can be interpreted in so many different ways. Again, it's also taken out of context. Like, seriously, get a grip, people. It really annoys me how things can be taken out of context. I cut off my finger can mean I got injured, I have a cut, something happened and my finger is cut. It's all about the context, really. And then, if you look at it from a victim of DV point of view, the victim will never accuse their abuser. It's just the way that they are conditioned. There is so much controlling, manipulation and brainwashing going on in a DV relationship that eventually, as the victim, you truly believe it was your fault for whatever the other person did to you. And so you take the blame for it. You won't be pointing the finger at them for doing it. You won't put the blame on them, but you will take the whole blame yourself. Remember when Amber said that she hit him and she said something to the like that he made her do it? This is really so typical. Plus, Johnny also didn't want to bring her name into it so it doesn't affect her career. He told the doctor that not Dr. Keeper, another doctor which I believe was at the hospital, he told the doctor that he caught his finger in a door, in an accordion door if I'm not mistaken, and the doctor said that looks like an injury of velocity, not getting it caught in a door. And we also need to remember that Johnny Depp, apart from being an actor, he is an artist. He's a musician, he plays the guitar, he paints. So why would he chop off his finger when he's using his hands to play the guitar, to paint, to make art? It just doesn't make sense, does it? The jury has seen dozens of Depp's texts to friends regarding his drinking, drug use and interactions with his then wife, as well as his notes of contrition to her and her father. Johnny Depp says that the Washington Post article contributed to an unfairly ruined reputation that made him a Hollywood outcast and cost him his role in the lucrative Pirates of the Caribbean movie franchise. Amber Heard's attorneys say only Johnny Depp is to blame for his troubled career. Johnny Depp's testimony ended with him declaring himself as a victim of DV.
Depp emotionally concluded his testimony, recalling a recorded conversation between himself and Heard after their explosive fight, where part of Depp's finger was severed.
I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought the first time.
Amber, I lost a finger, man. Come on.
Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence. It's a fair fight.
And what did you say in response when Miss Heard said, tell the world, Johnny, tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence?
I said, yes, I am.
Johnny Depp is suing for $50 million. Amber Heard tried to get this case dismissed, could not. She is countersuing for $100 million. John, this is going to come down to the law and the jury instructions, because how does Virginia define abuse? What is abuse? If you slam a kitchen door because you're upset in your life and she's standing there, is that abuse toward her? Is it? When you text someone that is not Amber Heard, but someone else, you're not talking to Amber Heard, right? But then what is the intent generally of Johnny Depp? And as an alleged victim, how does she interpret it?
There were also some photos being shown of the scribbles in the house in Australia at the time of the incident with the finger, with the house manager describing what he saw and what he found. We know about the writings on the bathroom wall mirror on a lampshade, which the house manager said that it looked like oil paint and lipstick. And with this one, I really have to smile here, because you can see what Amber's lawyer is saying is just getting ridiculous. Then we also know that there was blood seen on the walls, a broken glass table, a collapsed ping pong table from the Australia stay. In the same incident with the finger, even a part of the bar was damaged. There was alcohol all over the floor, there was smashed glass everywhere. I mean, Ben, the house manager, he had to clean up all the mess in there, so he knew exactly what was in there. There was a really bad fight. I don't know how it went, honestly. Was Amber chasing him? Was he trying to run away and then she went after him? Did he respond to the fight by fighting back? I have no idea, but the way it was described by Ben made it sound like it was a really serious fight going on there. And the way that the lawyer was trying to discredit Ben, again, just like with Christy, Johnny's sister, bringing forward the fact that Ben was employed by Johnny, which wasn't even true because he was employed by Disney and not by Johnny. Then we saw the going back and forth about the photos Ben had taken in regards to the damage in the house in Australia. The constant questioning of how many photos were taken by him, how many photos were disclosed, were they 5, were they 10, were they 20, were they over 20? If he didn't know the exact time and date of what happened, then how could he have known that a certain thing happened? It just, quite honestly, drove me insane only watching it. It felt like they were playing mind games with Ben. Honestly, being on a stand is quite scary. I think, yeah. Because they are trying to mentally exhaust you so they can see the way that you react. And this is the game. They were just grasping at straws. And with this, I got to the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching and for joining me today. Before I go, I just want to quickly mention that I now have a Patreon. So if you guys want to follow me on there, the link will be now on the screen and it will also be in the description down below. There are 3 tiers available. That Patreon will be 18+. So there will be crime scene photos, quite honestly graphic things that we can't really discuss on YouTube because of obvious reasons. So if you are interested in that, you can follow the link down below in the description. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video. For now, take care and stay safe. Bye!